wellness. Alafia, everybody. We're going to get into a pataki. For those who don't know, a pataki is a story within Yoruba tradition, typically involving the Orisha, and it's basically teaching us life lessons and how these forces of nature interact with us and the world around us. Now, depending on where that pataki travels, the story may change a little bit, but the core of what it means remains the same. And so, in this story, we have Oya and the butterfly. Okay, so Oya, the winds of change, right? And we had the butterfly. So the butterfly was living in the countryside. It was not a butterfly yet. It was actually still a cocoon. Okay, so the butterfly had just went from being a caterpillar into a cocoon. And as it was in its cocoon, it finally emerged out of its cocoon, within nature. And it was so beautiful, you know what I'm saying? The process. And so as the butterfly got used to its wings, it noticed, wow, like I'm so light. When I used to be a caterpillar, I was heavy. You know what I'm saying? I could only just stay to the leaves and stuff. And then when I was a cocoon, I couldn't move. Now I'm a butterfly and I can fly to the top of the tree, come back down to the bottom of the tree, and everywhere in between. And so the butterfly was enjoying its newfound freedom. Okay? The butterfly was enjoying its newfound freedom as a butterfly. And so as it's flitting around, the butterfly notices in the distance a city. And so the butterfly is like, oh, wow, what's that? It's very different than where I'm at now. And up until then, going from a caterpillar into a butterfly had been its hardest challenge of life. And so the butterfly was feeling like, it could just take on anything now, right? And so the butterfly flies to the city. And as it got closer to the city, it noticed the air started to change. The air went from that clean, crisp air of the countryside to smog and pollution. And it started to weigh down the butterfly's wings, right? And so as it weighed down the butterfly's wings, a wind came through, Oya, and started to blow harder than what the butterfly was used to experiencing. Anybody who's ever lived in a big city knows how the wind can just rip through the city. You know what I'm saying? It could just rip through the city. And so these winds started to turn into a storm. And so the butterfly was frantically trying to find a place to rest and hide. There were no trees around. They're in the middle of the city. And so the butterfly finds itself under a ledge in a building. And so it's hiding under the ledges. The rain is coming. It's storming. It's windy. And all the butterfly could think about was how comforting it was to be inside of its cocoon within the countryside. So now as all this is happening, the butterfly is just thinking, man, when I was living in the countryside of my cocoon, life was so simple. I wasn't going through all of this, right? And so what takes place is the storm stops. And as the storm stops, the butterfly sees the chance to make its way back to the country. And so the butterfly starts to fly back to the countryside. And it's thinking of all the comfort of the country, yes, finally I can get back home, and it will be peaceful and comfortable, and I will, have my peace again, right? Outside of this big city. And the winds of Oya picked up again. This time, it was not a storm, though. This time, there were gusts of winds that the butterfly could not fight against that blew it into a park. And in that park, children were playing. Well, the children captured that butterfly in a jar. And so when the children captured the butterfly in the jar, they did not handle it with care. And not too after, the butterfly dies and passes away. And there's the story. I know, right? It's such a morbid thing. You know, the butterfly never makes it back home because it gets trapped inside of the jar. But this reminds me of a very popular song as I was growing up as a kid. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Listen to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. I know that you're gonna have it your way, you're nothing at all. But I think you're moving too fast. And that was a very good song that came out when I was a kid by TLC. And that's essentially the core meaning of this story. You know, in life, realize that there's going to be times where you feel this freedom and liberation, but that doesn't mean that you disconnect from where home truly is. You see, a lot of people, they get into the world or they see something that glitters and they think that that's better than what they have already. And they will go chasing that thing and realize, damn, where was I running from? Where was I running to? I had everything that I needed where I was at. You understand? You know, we often see this a lot, especially like today with relationships. You know, a person could have had a good man, a person could have had a good woman. And then for whatever reason or the other, they call that quits and they think that, you know, they move on and find bigger and better things. And guess what they find when they get out into the world? That ain't shit out here for you. That you had everything that you needed with your family that you had before you decided to flitter off and be a butterfly into getting trapped into a little kid's jar, okay? And that's what people learn the hard way. And then they, you know, by the time it's too late, you understand? You know, they caught out there. Maybe they end up with a disease. Maybe they just end up, uh, you know, becoming so damaged out in the world because people are so terrible, right? Or maybe the person that they love just totally moves on and is just done, right? But whatever the case is, you know, maybe they can't come back, right? Um, we see this as well when people first find their freedom when they're getting out of high school, going into college, things like that. And then it's like, oh, well, it's lit now. I can just do whatever I want. And then the realities of the world start to hit you. And then you start to miss when life was simple, you see. And that's what this Pataki is teaching you. You know, enjoy the simple things of life, the simplicities of life. Enjoy them because you may not always have them. When those simplicities go and life becomes more complicated, like a city, guess what? You will miss those simplicities. You will miss the comfort and security that came with simplicity. You know, people have to learn how to find contentment in the little things in life. People have to learn how to find gratitude in what they have instead of trying to always want so much more than what you were given. Sometimes what you were given is just enough. By the time Butterfly realized that, it was too late. Butterfly could not escape the city, you see. And you know, as terrible as the story is, there's a big lesson in this, all right? If you have somebody that loves you, make it work. If you have a career that's decent, is suitable, grow in that field, you know. See what you can do within that field of expertise. You know, you don't have to jump ship, things like that, you know. If you have a simple life that's relatively peaceful, keep it. You don't have to go chasing waterfalls. The rivers are just enough for you. And it can lead to a very peaceful, fulfilling life if you see the value in the simplicities. You know, as they say it in the Jungle Book, a Baloo, the bare necessities. You know, it's the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your stripes. It's true. The bare necessities of life. In today's age, people often lose sight of what's really important. And they lose sight of those bare necessities. And then they end up trapped, just like the butterfly. And so, with that said, family, everybody, may you be well, may you be blessed, may you be appreciative, and may you be grateful. And I'll catch you on the next one. Or Dabo.